So not only are you watching the words that you're saying, but you're also speaking life and healing. These are things that you can do and they work. And we know this, but a lot of times we know and don't do because what? We don't necessarily believe it. And we got a lot of folk. I know a lot of my followers are Christian people, and you go to church and you read the word. But when it comes time to really apply your faith, how powerful are you?
Welcome to Unapologetically Fly, the podcast dedicated to giving you the tools, inspiration, and information you need to finally live for yourself, no matter the age, situation, or circumstance. I'm your host, Renee Mitchell-Simpson, the self-love and happiness coach and founder of Well Diva Lifestyle and Travel, the premier luxury wellness travel sisterhood for the flyest of aunties. Now get ready to ride along on my journey of reinvention, even at this big age, because sis, I need you to know it truly is never too late to fly. And by fly, I mean finally live for yourself.
Hello and welcome to another episode. So glad to have you back. We just got back from Australia not too long ago. If you have not had a chance to look at our very first travel vlog, make sure you hit up our YouTube channel and look for the Australia travel vlog. We did a watch party last night. It was so much fun to have everybody join in and watch our very first vlog. So if you haven't looked at it, please get on over there and take a look and let me know what you think, because I have more coming, but I would love to get some feedback on what you'd like to see more of and any suggestions. Okay, I'm open to all of that. All right, so today I want to talk to you about how powerful you are in your own healing process. You know, back in the day, remember when people would go to the doctor and just pretty much put their life in the doctor's hands? And I think most of us have learned not to do that. I grew up with my mom really always being proactive in her care. So that was just a mindset that was instilled in us. And I'm not sure if something happened in her upbringing that changed her mindset about who is most responsible for her health, but she actually was afraid to go to the doctor. So she really went overboard in making sure that she could take care of herself. She was really into holistic healing. And so I grew up with all of that. But I really want to talk to you today about the power that you have, starting with your mind and your mouth, and then the things that you can physically do. We seem to know more about what we can physically do for our health. We know, what to take for this pain and what's even sometimes what to eat. A lot of us have become more informed about what to eat, right? We even know about different holistic modalities like acupressure, acupuncture, and all those kind of things. But the power of your mouth, for one, when people say, and I don't even want to say it, but they claim an illness. They say my whatever the illness is. So it's like you're taking ownership of it, you're claiming it, and it's almost like a badge of honor or something. And some people even kind of get off on bragging about their illnesses. I know a couple of people like that. Like you can't even talk to them without them bringing their illness into the conversation, and it becomes kind of like who they are. Some people grew up with that, in the family. They may have been the sickly child, or they may have started getting attention for being sick early in life, and it just kind of carries you through the rest of your life. You're known for being the sick one, and then some people even have like whole conversation trying to see who's sicker. That's more elderly people, but some people grow up like that, just always talking about their illness. So I want to talk to you about the power of your tongue. I know we've talked about this before, but sometimes we need to hear it again and again, right? How powerful your mouth is, and how you don't want to claim an illness and say my such and such. You want to kind of start separating yourself from that illness as you explore ways to reverse that illness. Now, I can't say for sure if all illnesses are reversible, but I know a lot of them are, and a lot of us don't know that they are. A lot are reversible, preventable, even more manageable than you may think. Okay, so just want to just remind you to keep the words that are coming out of your mouth as part of your healing. Your healing toolkit. Okay, because your words are incredibly powerful. So not only are you watching the words that you're saying, but you're also speaking life and healing. These are things that you can do and they work. And we know this, but a lot of times we know and don't do because we don't necessarily believe it. And we got a lot of folk. I know a lot of my followers are Christian people, and you go to church and you read the word. But when it comes time to really apply your faith, how powerful are you? Do you really believe that you can be healed? So I want you to practice speaking life over your body, every organ, every cell. Start in the morning speaking healing and life over your body, because if you start in the morning, it tends to stay with you throughout the day. If you're more mindful of what you say in the morning, it can carry you through the day, and it'll get your attention when you're speaking negative things over yourself. I know I used to say, I'm tired, I'm sick, I used to say that a lot, and I'll still find myself catching myself saying I'm tired. I am. We know how powerful that is. So the more you say I am, the more you're going to get what you're saying I am about, right? So then the next thing I want to talk about is dealing with your emotions, because your emotions, when you don't properly deal with them, they end up developing as an illness or pain or some kind of problem in the body. So you'll deal with something and you'll try to suppress it instead of letting that emotion flow through. Emotion, that's your energy. They say energy in motion is what emotion is. Now, I don't know, but that's what they say, and it sounds good to me. But energy flowing through your body, allow it to flow through and pass on through instead of suppressing emotions. Deal with it. Something's upset you, say what you gotta say. Get it off your chest. Get it out of your throat. So you may have heard me talk about it before. I've spoken before on how I have a lump in my throat, and it came from not voicing my opinion, just being quiet. This was in a previous relationship that I was eventually made to feel like when I spoke my mind, all hell would break loose. So I kind of trained myself to just be quiet and hold things in. And eventually I started to notice this lump here. And thank God I had it tested, and it wasn't anything detrimental to my health, just more cosmetic. But to me, it's like a reminder to say what I have to say, to speak my mind. And then I also found out that that's connected to the throat chakra. So that's one of the things I definitely want to talk to you about is the chakras in our body and how we need to make sure. I've talked about this before in a Selfish Saturday episode, but I want to go more into the chakras and how to make sure that they are healed and healthy, and how our body is letting us know, our body is communicating with us when our chakras are not balanced. This was my communication. It's like I probably picked up on something before, but eventually it became a physical lump. Now, had I continued on with, not speaking my mind, I wonder if this could have turned into something, some sort of disease. I don't know. But it's so interesting. I just think that it's so interesting how the body communicates with us, and how we are so busy living our lives and just moving along in this body, this vehicle, And a lot of times we're not paying it attention. We're not listening to it. We're not hearing it. And we're not communicating properly with it. Speak life over your body. Don't speak disease. Don't keep saying, oh, I got this and I feel this, these negative things. It's obvious that you have pain. You know you have pain. You don't need to say it out loud. You don't need to give power to it. And I don't know if you caught the video a few months ago that I did where I used ChatGPT to interpret tongues. A lot of people lost their mind behind that video, and they started, some people started adding their own 2 cents to the video and without even hearing the whole story. But in that interpretation, what ChatGPT said was, or revealed to me, was that I need to use my voice. My voice is my power. And I still find myself like wanting to not say what I need to say, not teaching the things that I know to you guys. I come on and I teach things, but sometimes I don't get, as harsh as I could get. Sometimes I'm like being really nice and gentle. And sometimes I'm not, just giving my all. And that interpretation was reminding me to open my mouth and say what I need to say so that I don't end up with this energy stuck in my throat, stuck in my body that could turn into illness. The next thing I want to talk about is being open to alternative healing modalities, especially us as Black folks. A lot of times we are afraid of different things, or we're just unfamiliar, or we think everything is the devil. Like, we are so quick to claim things are of the devil when they're not, and we're missing out. And I know I've said this before, I've talked about hypnotherapy, but there's all kinds of holistic healing modalities that we should be exploring and taking advantage of. So look into that. Look into, like I mentioned, acupressure, acupuncture. We do all of these things, but still making sure that your emotions are clear is super, super important. That's why sometimes people get all these different treatments and then they still end up with the illness. Deal with the emotions, deal with what's going on the inside, okay? And then the last thing I want to say is I have an upcoming series where I'm actually going to be exploring more about the emotions and how suppressing them can lead to illness, and what illnesses they can lead to, and what you could possibly do about that. So I'm going to start that series for September. I don't know when you're listening to this, but September 2025, I'm going to start I'm trying to decide if it's going to be 21-day or 30-day series. And I think I'm going to call it Sound Body Wisdom. Basically, I want to talk to you about listening to your body and how your body tries to speak to you. You know how you might have your stomach gets upset if you eat a certain food. And sometimes people want to continue to eat that food, so they'll take a medication that allows them to not hear from their body and still be able to eat that food without actually experiencing the discomfort. That discomfort is your voice. That's your body speaking to you, telling you, I don't want that food. That food does not agree with me for whatever reason. So instead of shutting down those symptoms that's your body speaking, instead of shutting that down, you want to tune in and listen so that you can eat the right foods, or you can do the right activities, or be around the right people. Your body will even tell you when there's people you shouldn't be around. You'll feel it in your body. And when we ignore that, then we wonder why later we end up with disease, right? So I want to talk to you all about that. My upcoming series, Sound Body Wisdom, is what I think I'm going to call it, because it's all about listening to your body and being wise in how you respond, okay? All right, so that's today's episode, and thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching. Now be sure to like, subscribe, share with your besties, and tell me what topics would you like more of in the comments below, so I know I'm not just sitting here talking to myself. I also invite you to join me in the Well Divas on one of our unapologetically fly wellness travel experiences. Visit welldiva.com and select someplace wonderful to meet up with us. Until next time, stay unapologetically fly.